Hi, I'm Jacqueline Snyder, and this is the Product Boss Podcast. I've helped launch and grow thousands of product-based businesses, even one of my own. And over the last 20 years, I've seen behind the scenes of businesses just like yours. Whether they are makers, manufacturers, artists, or food and beverage businesses, I have spent so many hours studying it all. I've discovered what makes them successful, what mistakes they could have avoided, how did they turn their ideas into a successful business, and what are the strategies that they have used to make more sales and be discovered by more customers. And this is what this show is all about. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to become $1 million product boss, I'm here to give you the permission to chase your dreams, no matter how big or small. All you need is the right mindset, a little courage, strategy, and support, and you too can be the next $1 million product boss. Let's do this. Hey, product bosses, quick check-in. Is your sales growth feeling stuck, like totally flatlined despite all of your hustle? Or maybe you're like, okay, this should actually just be harder. Maybe you're feeling like you're walking in mud and it's like, why does this feel so hard? Either way, if you're nodding your head thinking someone, please, please, please just tell me exactly what works so I can finally grow without grinding myself in the ground. Well, I've got something so good for you. Say hello to the Accelerate Your Sales podcast bundle. Okay, it's my absolute best, totally free playlist of episodes that'll show you exactly how to stop being the best kept secret, right? Let's get this product seen. Or how about expand your sales across multiple channels without overwhelm? Hello, abundance. Or create products your customers can't wait to buy over and over and over again. And it's going to really help you start to build your business with that clarity, ease, and joy, because growing your business should feel amazing, not exhausting. My friend, this is your shortcut to more sales, less chaos, and way more fun along the way. Grab it now. It's 100% free. I just wanted to make it super easy for you to find those episodes. You're like, which episodes should I listen to, Jacqueline? Here it is. And it's packed with pure gold. All you have to do is head to theproductboss.com/growth or click that link in the show notes and then pop into your email and let's do this. It's your time to feel the freedom, to find that abundance, and to get passionate about your business again. All right, I'll see you in there. Oh my goodness, friends. If you are anything like me, you probably spend more time running errands than running your business. Am I right? Like everything needs something. We got to run around. And I knew that this was like a major issue for me back in the day, which is why I decided to get help where I could. And I decided to let Instacart handle all of my grocery shopping. So I no longer had to worry about running all the errands and having to run out and get more almond milk for my lattes. Rather, I was like, you know what? We're just going to let Instacart handle that. So I want you to imagine skipping the store and getting back to designing, packaging orders, making, or maybe actually taking a break, even a nap. Remember those? Okay, so with Instacart, you can get groceries and essentials delivered in as fast as an hour so you can focus on growing your business without sacrificing a meal. Plus, less stress and more focus. And here's a tip. I've actually used Instacart before to order gifts from my daughter's friends' birthday parties because I haven't had time to run out and get presents. And I've been able to get the packaging, like the gift bag and the gift, like hello Sephora, delivered to my house while I was in the middle of coaching sessions so that I could have the present, right? It's like having a personal assistant without having a personal assistant. So if you want to do what I do and get the help where you can try it now if you head to theproductboss.com/Instacart. Hey, product bosses. All right, my friends, we are back for another coaching episode. I love these. I love digging into them. I love taking you behind the scenes so that you can really see what it's like to get coached by me, to just be coached and be asked the questions that are perhaps questions you didn't even think to ask. Now, today I'm really excited because you get to peek behind the scenes with one of my students. She has been a student in all of my programs. She's done a VIP day with me. She's been in my masterminds. Like she's like literally just like one of my best students. That is someone who just wants to like eat it all up. And even though we're working closely together, she's like, hey, if you want to use part of this for the show, because we thought it was really powerful, she said, go ahead and use it. So thank you, Meyla, for doing that. Now, if you are really loving this show and you want more of it, follow the show. Hit the follow button. Make sure you're subscribing. Like and subscribe, as my daughter says, right? And also, if you could leave a review, that would be incredible. That would be such a gift. And we're just about to hit, or we've hit like 700 episodes. I think we're like one episode away. And to commit to, we're at 2 podcasts a week right now. and to commit to that and to show up with that content. It's just been one of the greatest gifts of my life to be able to speak into this microphone and get into your earbuds, because I know how much podcasts have really hit me. And I know when I've heard certain things where I was at that exact moment, where I was walking and I had that like aha moment. Maybe I was listening in the shower, right? There's all the places. So today you're going to hear behind the scenes coaching episode with Meyla. Now, Meyla is just incredible. She's a creative entrepreneur. She's like so passionate. She has this beautiful jewelry business that she built with her sister. She loves traveling. She loves her family. She's gone through immense loss. She did lose her sister this last year, who was her co-founder. There's just been so many things that she's had to walk through. And I've watched her walk through these things with such power and such grace and with such like faith and trust in the universe. And truthfully, always a smile on her face. And I think you're going to hear it through this. And so Meyla is the owner and designer of Beksan Designs. So you're going to hear us. It's going to be a little bit of a different coaching that I'm going to take her into, right? Because this coaching is going to be, she came and she was probably like ready to go and say like, tell me the strategy for wholesale. Like I want to call them and these are the things I need to do. And that was part of our call. And I said, Meyla, honestly, you've got that in the sales accelerator, right? She's a student in the Product Boss Sales Accelerator. I was like, everything you need to know on how to sell wholesale without needing to be unfair, right? How to grow your business without needing to be an influencer, have a ton of followers. That's all in the programs that you've invested in. But working with me, let's kind of dive deeper because I want to really create alignment in her life. So you're going to hear us dive into what her ideal life would look like if that was a 10 out of 10 life. Like I asked her, what is your 10 out of 10 vision for your life? And we looked at that in the way of financial freedom or connection with her family or living fully. But like so many of us, Meyla is balancing dreams with distractions. I mean, always, right? And she's trying to get a grip on her time and her focus and what's next. Life is going to life. That has been my deep, profound experience over the last few weeks. If you follow me on Instagram, you know some of what's going on. And holding the things that we hold, especially as entrepreneurs, we do that because we are hoping to have that freedom of time. But also, when our businesses are reliant on us, what happens to your business if you have something life that you've got to deal with? So if you've ever felt stretched thin while you are also so determined and striving for more and wanting to live that 10 out of 10 life, or you've wondered how you're going to close that gap between where you are now and where you want to be, this episode's going to be a little bit different, but it's also for you. So I'm really excited to kind of share a new way that I am coaching with you. I'd love to hear. Send me a DM over at The Product Boss. Tell me what you think about the episode, and let's go. Okay, so Meyla, like, what is the vision for your life? Like, if it was like a 10 out of 10 life, what would that look like?
I love the question. For me, probably the vision would be being able to generate finances so that I would be able to visit my daughters on a regular basis, travel the unknown territories that I still want to visit, learn and continue growing, whether it's through coaching or masterminds, etc. Continuing the business, but actually being able to hand it to my daughters possibly in the future in 10 years would be realistic for me. Maybe helping them in the transition, but being able to move this forward, whether they rename it, redo it, but have a legacy of it continued. I would be continuing to play tennis and be very active, go to tennis camps because I like being active. I would be connecting with my husband regularly, but also not being with my girlfriends and having me time, girlfriend time, etc. I think I would be visiting Hawaii on a regular basis, more for relaxation and the tennis fun and etc. And basically not worried about finances in any realm of it, both for myself and my future daughters, possibly their children, etc., leaving some to them.
Amazing. Okay, so if that's like your 10 out of 10 life, where do you think you are now if we were to like
I'm
It
at
could be
about
for the whole.
8.
Okay. Amazing.
About 8. It's 7, 8. I'm still working on so much to even organize the fiscal elements and all of that.
So like if we were to break it down into compartments, so like self-care, tennis, all the things, like 1
Self-care,
out of 10.
I'd say about 8. I'm there.
8. Okay.
Mhm.
Relationship.
I'd say about a 7.
Friends.
Friends, I'd say about an 8. Mhm.
Okay. Your ability to like have the freedom of travel and abundance and that world, like the adventure side of you.
I'd say about a 7 because I can do it, but I'm always worried about the work element, the business still.
All right. So then business.
Business, I'm probably at about a 7.
Okay.
Mhm.
And finance.
I think I'm at about an 8 in finance.
All right. Amazing. So it's like, we're not at 2s, 3s, 4s. Like we're in good numbers.
I'm on good numbers.
So one of the most powerful tools we have as business owners is holding a vision, right? Like really being able to clearly picture the life that we're building beyond just the day-to-day grind. So when I asked Meyla to describe her 10 out of 10 life, she painted a picture of deep connection with her family, the freedom to travel the world, financial security, time for self-care, and ultimately like that joy of building something that will last, something she could actually pass on to her daughters through her business. So her 10 out of 10 life was not just about the business. And I'm going to be honest with you, I probably have been coaching you and talking to you for a long time as my life felt very much about my business because my life felt like the vehicle to my dream life. But what if I could be on the ride and in my dream life at the same time? What if it wasn't just about the business? What if it was about how the business fits into the dream life, into that bigger vision that I have, that Meyla has, that you have? But often, when we get that clear, a quiet tension kind of tends to show up, right? That space between the life we want and the one we're currently living, right? And it's not always dramatic. It's usually subtle. So for Meyla, she was already doing pretty well, right? When I asked her, she's like, yeah, it's a 7 out of 10. It's an 8 out of 10, right? Sounds pretty great. But that last stretch, that leap from doing fine to fully thriving, to living her 10 out of 10 best life, feeling fully embodied in that's where the things are going to get interesting. And that's where clarity is going to become her catalyst. So if you're listening, my friend, here is your nudge. Take stock. Think about this. What does your version of a 10 out of 10 life look like? And where are you today, really? Because once you know that gap, you're finally going to start to build that bridge. You're going to see what you want to fill in. And for me, my way of being this year has been, or maybe in the last couple of months, has been like Dolce Vita, the sweet life. I hosted a retreat for my masterminders, and I decided, usually I'm very business. And I was like, no, like actually, and in how the world feels, I was like, Dolce Vita, the sweet life, no matter what. So we had business one day and pleasure the next. That was the theme, business and pleasure. And I think what I'm trying to incorporate more into my world, into my way of being, into my way of coaching is that Dolce Vita, that sweet life, that passion for what we're doing, and the freedom that comes with that. Think about your most beautiful, best day and how you feel in that. And we can have both. We can be doing business and also in pleasure, business and pleasure. Okay. So that is what we're really going to think about, right? Like we want to know that gap so you can finally start building the bridge between the two. So it sounds like you're like if we were going to grade it though, it's probably like a C and a B.
Right.
That we're like at C's and B's.
Yes.
Even though it's on the higher side. So like, what do you think you would need to
I'd go probably B minus.
B minus.
Okay.
Okay.
Then a C.
No C's. Mm-hmm. So then what do you think would be required of you to kind of break through that and like really step into that like 10 out of 10 on all those parts?
The time balance thing. I still have time issues. I can't fit everything in that I want to do. So I don't know why, but for me, blocking time is like one of the hardest skills to develop. It even was when I was working in education. It has always been an issue for me. I think I'm a little zoned out in the artsy world. That's part of my problem.
Do you think it's like distraction? Like when we talk about time, like is it that like you're like squirrel, or is it
squirrel?
Squirrels, yeah.
Partly squirrely, partly that's happening. I don't want to miss that,
Okay. So a
all
little
of
bit of
that.
like, well, yeah, you're very much like you're so good at like, I think you love being around people. You get really excited. Something new comes, which is not unlike any other visionary in this world. And so it's like, there's things that come up and you're like, oh, that sounds exciting. That sounds exciting. And so it's hard. I'll even reflect back to me like that focus and discipline that it takes to go kind of like, cause it does get boring, like to go all in on something. I'm not gonna lie. So I used to say I loved fashion because I was like, oh, I could change with the trends. I was
Uh-huh.
like, oh, what's summer? What's spring? So I think that's an innate quality of visionaries and somebody like you who is like such a promoter of other people, promoter of yourself, like the energy around people. So like the question then would be is like, what would it look like if you were able to almost like collapse timelines and make it that you could be really effective and really focused in less time?
See, that's what I was thinking. Actually, I had that thought.
Funny you mentioned
I
that.
know. But no, I'm starting to go, okay, what would the exact hours be? Block them out. Do you know what I mean? And do it in a shorter period of time. I don't want to be doing it late at night, which I know you do. So I know,
I'm working on that.
I know I'm working on it, but it's not working out so well for me all the time. I'm now getting too tired too. So
I
that
know.
could be a problem. So I don't want to be doing the late at night. I also notice I'm good in the morning, like with sports and all of that. So I like being active and done with that in the morning. So I'm starting to find a little bit more of my, like the rhythm that works best for me. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking I do more of my work in the afternoon or later evening. I do well in the evening because I just do, but not writing. The other thing I'm working on right now is home life balance. And I haven't blocked the time to do that. So it's finding the time.
Yeah. One of the things I'm working on this summer, like I'm kind of setting 3 goals for myself, which are stretchy goals that like who am I on the other side of them? That they're not just like normal goals of I'm going to do this or I'm going to whatever, but it's like what personally in my way of being has been getting in the way of me breaking through that to the other side of like almost creating a new way of being. Who do you want to be? How do you want to feel in your day to day? To have that kind of like 10 out of 10 lifestyle, but that you could have that without the doing more,
Right, right. No, it's
you
true.
know? Like, can more money flow towards you? Can sales happen? Can the business be established? Can you spend the time with your kids? Can you have a deeper relationship with your husband? Can you have these beautiful times with your friends? Can you have the time to play tennis? And can all of this happen with you being you in this like kind of homeostasis, like content state versus being like, I gotta get this. It's like I used to say I was like Cinderella before the ball. All the things I had to get done beeps if I wanted to go to the ball
Oh, it's
to
true.
meet the
It's
prince.
similar to me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I
or
didn't look at it myself as Cinderella. I just was like, how can I make it so I can enjoy XYZ? Do you know what I mean? And be
yeah.
done and not have to think about it.
So here's something I remind my clients and my students all the time. Your energy is actually the most valuable resource in your business. It's not your time, it's not your revenue, it's not even your product. It actually all starts with how you feel, how you think, and how you show up. If you've been in any of my trainings, you can see that my way of being and my leadership over the last couple of years has been really to start incorporating mindset and this idea of who you are, like the being and not so much of the doing. And I think the shift for me used to be I gotta do, 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 do. But it's actually like, how can I be in this moment? How can I feel? How can I work on my thoughts? How can I get out of my own way? So in this conversation, Meyla opened up about something we all face, and that's the exhaustion that comes from trying to do it all. Anyone else like, yeah, I know exactly how she feels. It's your business, your family, relationships, self care, and feeling like none of it is getting your full attention. But what if it's not about fitting everything in? What if it's about getting crystal clear on what deserves your energy right now in this moment? I just had this conversation today. Shout out to my Jacqueline's Insiders group. It's my insiders, right? It's a small group that I have that we go deep together, and we're sort of taking off a couple months for the summer. And I said to them, I was like, well, you can do it all. But right now, we have to really stay focused on getting crystal clear on what to focus on right now and what your energy needs right now. Because it's very easy for all of you to listen to my podcast, to listen to other coaches, to follow people on social and be like, I should do this, I should do this, I should do this. But what is the greatest gift that I can give you is helping you kind of start to identify how to get really clear on what deserves your energy in this moment. Because when you protect your energy, you're going to make better decisions. You're going to be more creative. You're going to connect more deeply. You will run your business with intention instead of just momentum. Because you know the things that you do that feel really good in your body. And you know the other things that you do that you're like, oh my God, there's such resistance, right? So we really want to run our businesses with intention. So if you're feeling stretched, like you're doing 100 things at 60%, then this is your permission slip to pause. So I want you to check in where your energy is leaking. And I want you to ask, what if I focused on doing fewer things, but with 100% presence, right? That 10 out of 10 that we want in our life. What if we were 10 out of 10 in that focus? That's where your fulfillment is going to live. And that's where your real growth is going to begin. Hey friends. Okay. So I don't know if you're anything like me, but sometimes it feels like my self-care routine is slipping through the cracks because when I'm juggling and wearing all the hats in my business and doing all the things, I mean, the last thing I have to do is like really fulfill that self-care routine that my daughter's talking about. She's like, Mom. So listen, so when it comes to running a successful business, you can't really pour from an empty cup. And a lot of times that self-care is like one of the first things to get yourself recalibrated. So that's why I want you to meet Glossy. Now, Glossy is my favorite daily beauty supplement designed to transform your skin and gut health from the inside out. And I'm actually an investor in this business because I so believe in this idea of science-backed ingredients for digestion and skin hydration. And Glossy makes it really easy to look and feel your best without that whole 10-step routine in the mirror, the thing I don't actually have time for. All I have to do is simply mix a stick into my water and I'm good to go. So if you want to try this, because I so believe in this business, I think it's amazing. It's done so many wonders for my skin and my gut, which are two things that I need help with. And you want to simplify your wellness and your beauty, all you have to do is click in the show notes and you can use the code Jacqueline Snyder. So it's my full name. Use the code Jacqueline Snyder and I'm hooking you up with 15% off your order. So cheers to glowing skin and a thriving business. When you're thinking about your 10 out of 10 life and like the vision, I wonder, take a second to journal maybe for yourself and be like, if it was your perfect day, if the bank account would fill the way you wanted to do, if sales were happening the way you wanted them to happen, if your relationship was the 10 out of 10 relationship, who would you have to be in that day? Like what states of being would you have to be in that day? Not what would you have to do to make that happen?
Mm-hmm. No, it makes sense. That's true. And for me, I think, I don't know why, but I have to write everything down. It's an accountability thing, and then it'll get done. If I don't write it down, it's not going to happen type of thing. So that's why I figure it has something to do with really blocking out time, whether it's a 90-minute, whether it's a 60-minute. I know they have all these different plans. I obviously have not followed through with that yet, except for when I'm at a tennis match and I need to play the tennis match. Do you know what I mean? And there I stand.
I mean, what if that is a part of your journey? Like, what if you played the game of business and played the game of life the way you play tennis? You're like, I'm going in for this amount of time. This is a score I'm going to get to. Like, my words are free, abundant, and passionate. So if I want to feel free, abundant, and passionate, who would that person be if I showed up in that way? And so, for example, last night maybe it was just 2 nights ago, I have new people to my email list. And very clearly, instead of overcomplicating, I was like, I want to just email these 3 groups of people a very specific email. Like I'm working on like an email campaign of like a flow. And instead of thinking, okay, I'm going to go build a Canva doc and I'm going to do this and that and make it like really overly complicated. So the state of being like free, abundant, and passionate. So when I wrote my to-do list, it did not feel like that way of being.
Mm-hmm.
And so then what I was saying about the emails, I was like, okay, let me simplify this. Let me just look at what like the first thing I want to do right now. And also this like an attachment to results. I want to get the results, but an attachment to it where I'm just like, can I simplify it? And even though I was probably doing the same thing I would have done before I kind of wanted to step into that feeling, the feeling was there. So the way of being, of still the person doing the doing had a different like way of being to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it just felt lighter and more playful and more joyful and more passionate and more like free and abundant.
Right.
I think with you if you could journal and really tap into how you want to feel, who you want to be, because we know the things you want to do. We know the 10 out of 10 life. And then like, who is Meyla when she's playing tennis? And like, what are your feelings when you're playing tennis?
I'm very present.
Okay.
I'm very focused. I'm into it because I love the sport. I'm thoughtful because for me, I played lots of doubles now. I used to play singles, but with doubles, you actually have to really think about where you're placing the ball. So there's an intellectual element to it, which I like a lot. And then I also am connecting with another human. So because it's a team, you can't do it on your own when you're playing doubles. So it's really being thoughtful in how I engage with the other person as well.
Are you having fun? Is it joyful?
I'm
Are you
having
happy?
usually it's mostly fun. If I don't have lovely, opponents, that can be a little annoying.
Okay.
I'm competitive, so I want to win.
Okay. I love that for you.
I want to try to do anything I can to win. So not in a mean way, but playing wise. Yeah, strategically.
But when you're there, like, are you in a state of happiness, joy, contentment, like passionate?
Usually I'm passionate.
Yeah.
It's more
passionate.
Excited, passionate. It's fun. I know I'm not getting paid for it, but there's something I need to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm in it to win it.
So some of the words that I heard you say that I think are like important and that you maybe, and so write those down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to write them down right now before I tell you the next thing, like
I'm
things that you felt. Sound like connected, present, thoughtful, passionate, competitive. What else?
For me, I want to simplify the situation so we can win with ease. Do you know what I mean? I know it sounds weird, but part of the strategic is to make it not as tiring and difficult,
Okay.
Let's try to be strategic so that we can win in a graceful and easy way,
Not overcomplicated.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So I love all those words. And then out of those words, if we were to circle a few of them that were going to be like your state of being. So competitive, I don't think that that's like I think competitive is something that drives you, but there's a level of,
it's not.
Yeah. I think there's a level of like the win-win and the competitive, because win-win is like, maybe you're not both going to win, but you're both winning because you like this feeling of competition.
Mm-hmm.
You're out on the court,
Mm-hmm.
you're playing. It's like you're both filling each other's cups despite who wins, right? Even though, because competition is healthy. So what are some of the words in there that are like a state of being that you can circle that feel like you could then take those states of being and be those in the other parts of your life? Be that in business, be that as a mom.
I like strategic. I don't know why that's calling me.
Great.
I like passionate.
Okay.
I like connected. And I kind of like being present. And I just hadn't realized that that's very important to me. Like when I'm talking to you, I'm into being present.
Perfect. So presence, passion, strategic. And what was the last one?
Connected.
Okay. So what I want you to do with those 4 words is I want you to find the ways of being that you can be in that in all the parts of your life. So with your husband, how can you, maybe the strategy part, is like, I don't know.
Strategic timing. Maybe that's it.
Yeah. Or like or maybe the strategic goes back to your thoughtfulness of like, you're really thinking through how you want that experience to be. You're thinking through your night with him. Mm-hmm. You're thinking through your dinner. Like because you're really looking for connectedness. And strategic may not be the word that carries through. Passionate. To me, passionate for me is like, I'm not just watching life happen. I'm like tasting it. I'm dancing through it.
I agree.
Living. And so find those words, see if you like write those words down for you. And as you're kind of going through your day, because even the strategic part to me makes a lot of sense when you're like feel squirrel energy or distraction. It's like, okay, if this is a match, if I'm going to sit here and I'm going to write the copy, I'm going to call the wholesalers, I'm going to do whatever. How can I treat this in this like strategic way that's also easy? You don't have to overcomplicate it.
Mm-hmm.
That you feel like passionate, you feel connected to it, you feel present. Like, how am I present in this moment? So when you're building a business and a life, there's a moment when the strategy has to get quiet so your values can speak up. So that's kind of like the thing you're hearing in this part of the conversation, because Meyla is beginning to uncover the words that matter most to her. Words like feeling passionate and feeling connected and feeling, present. So whatever they are, these are the anchors that everything else gets built around. So this is more than just branding. This is more than just mindset. This is your personal operating system. Because when you know the energy you want to lead with, how you want to feel, who you want to become, your decision starts to align, right? Your schedule shifts, your offer shifts, even how you show up with your family changes. This is something I am deeply practicing right now. So I want you to ask yourself, what is a word that's going to describe the version of the next level that you're stepping into? And here is how I've coached my students on it. And this is how I'm going to coach you. I want you to think of a time that you were really stretched. So Jennifer, shout out to Jennifer on my team. She just ran a marathon and did it in 6 hours and 5 minutes. I know how much time she put into training and how much she pushed to get that thing done. And she did it like uphill for the last couple miles, right? So who did she have to be in that to push through that? One of these times for me, I remember when I had my first baby and oh my God, I was like in labor for like 36 hours. I was pushing for 3 hours. It was insanity. And I remember thinking after, I think I was doing yoga and I was like, I can hold this pose. Like I pushed for 3 hours. Like what way of being? Or maybe there's loss. Maybe there's, like in this moment, I am blessed that my mom is still here. But my mom had a catastrophic medical event that happened a little over a week ago at the time of me recording this. And due to another illness that she has. And we pretty much said goodbye to her on the first night and then went through a miracle and miracle and miracle in your prayers and our prayers. She has been getting better slowly. I don't know that she'll ever be who she was before, but she is getting better slowly. So what way of being did I have to be to get through that, right? For me, I would say courageous, but I actually think I had to be in faith, which is not a natural way of being for me because I'm a big old controller and I'm like, I can control everything. Silly Jacqueline, you can't control everything, right? I think I had to be in a place of faith, of trusting, like trusting the process and trusting everything was going to work out, which is a really, really, really good way to describe or find those words for myself and to write it down. Because if I can let those words lead me of trusting the process or just having faith, which again, for a pessimist, and I'm not a pessimist fully, but I do tend to go to worst case scenario just based on how I was raised, which is why I've done so much work to try and flip it. And I'm best case scenario when I coach you, but for myself, it's sometimes like the worst. But that was an old way of being. So if I could be in trusting the process, being in faith that everything is rigged in my favor and it's going to work out, then that is like an anchor point for me, something that I can step into and hold on to. So if anything else comes up, like all the things I had to do today, including recording a podcast, right? Could I have faith that I could get it all done? Could I trust the process when, something new is happening? Anything. It's like maybe I could anchor onto that and then I would have a anchor point of an experience I went through to hold on to it. So for you, is it a time that you were courageous, resilient, confident, passionate, joyful, abundant, free? Like what is a way of being that you had this version? And ask yourself that and write that down. And I want you to let that word lead you when you're trying to move through things, whether it's in life or business. Let that word lead you. Okay. And remind yourself of who you are. So that's your little bit of homework. Okay. Let's jump back in. I think the strategic ease is really important even together because it's like, okay, we don't have to overcomplicate this. The same way that I'm talking about these emails. I can write all of the 10 emails I want to send to each segment of the audience, or I can write the one in the moment, make it really good. And then I'll write the next one in the moment 2 days later, and then write the next one. And what will happen is I'll be doing it as it goes in an easy, free sort of way. Mm-hmm. And then when I want to repeat it again, I'll have done it instead of like that forced. I got to stay up all night and get the whole job done. And it doesn't feel good. I don't feel free. I don't feel abundant. I don't feel passionate. I feel like tired and drained and all of the opposite to the words that you're sharing.
No, it's true. It's true. I am trying to do that more. I've been doing it actually. I started this new year after losing my sister that I wanted to be more ahead of the game. And I knew the graduations were coming for the girls and stuff. And it actually worked out in my favor. I've been batching the writing like you suggested in one of our, I can't remember if it was an episode or a coaching session, but it's more of doing the batching and trying to batch all of the emails. And it's still story-like, and doing it, but doing it ahead of time. So everything isn't back-walled. I haven't gotten to it because of my life balance issues for the reaching out to the wholesalers and getting ahead, even for photography for, the fall, which I'm going to do. I'm going to try to send it out this month, but I'm trying to make sure that I am ahead of the game more.
Yeah. So I think that going back to the strategic ease is like, okay, there's all the things you want to do. There's all the things that you have to do. And you're highly coachable and you get really good bits of content, not content, but you consume information that you're like, okay, I'm going to make this thing happen, and you can make anything happen. So the next part is like, all right, if we're going to lean into these levels of the ways of being that you want to be, what is actually the things to do in your business that's going to get you closer to that? Because I think let's not ignore that you did lose your sister and you probably jumped. This is the two of you built this together. You jumped into this thing, right? Just charging in a battle, but also, and I'm sure she wants this for you too, is how do you enjoy this? Where is the passionate, instead of the step-by-step plate, the fill your plate and I got to get all the stuff done and the work-life balance, because you don't need Beksan Design, right? You don't need it to pay the bills, correct?
No.
It is something you do from the passionate part of you.
I'm now doing it it's not just passion, it's legacy.
Correct.
I have a different weird thing that's now starting to happen. It already started with my mother's, maiden name being the name of the business. But besides that, and reconnecting with Turkey, which it gave us the ability to do, I still have a property there that I'm dealing with and, a crazy person I deal with there. But basically, it's become a legacy project, which I think my kids would like to take over eventually.
Yeah.
So it's a different thing. It isn't just money.
There's a depth.
The money is coming in, and fortunately, we're making some profit, and that's fine. And I pay myself every quarter, but I pay minimally. But I just retired from education, so I had a profession before, and now I'm getting money for that. So I multi-stream, machine.
Yeah. So I think, and so that's the thing that I think when you're work-life balance and this because of the experience you've had this year and also just the journey with cancer is just life.
Exactly.
Life is actually the part that I want you to be living. So as you're creating this legacy business and as you're creating this passion, it's not a passion project, but there's a passion to the legacy, to the history, to your mom, to your sister, all of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the balance part, it's if you can come from these words in your day to day, this business will also flourish energetically because it's being fed by you being filled up instead of feeling I got to do this thing. I got to call this person. I have to do you've been doing for a lot. I've known you for a lot of years now. And it's yeah, you've got all the strategy. We've got all the steps, you've got the courses. And then the shift in it energetically of living in it, enjoying it, and I know you love this. You love talking to people. So when you do these markets, you're I get to talk to these women and talk about the story of everything. So it's I think if you come at it from that energy more so, the rest of it will feel it flows. The strategy we can talk about, because you were talking a lot about time management and balancing growth and stuff. And it's you don't have to do all the things you're doing. And the company, even if I told you,
I've already shifted in the time we've known each other.
Yeah.
I'm doing much fewer shows on the weekend. This past weekend, I played.
Look at the kind of money you're making every month. You're crushing it.
Yeah.
Right? This is so different than when we started together. All right, my friends, I told you that the session was going to feel different and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I asked Meyla when we were done with the session, I was can I share this part of our conversation? And she's heck yeah, you can. So make sure you're supporting Meyla at Beksan Designs. She is such an advocate of small business owners. She is like the greatest cheerleader ever. So let's pay it forward to supporting her business. And in this session, I think because it's a reflection of what so many of us face, which is like that desire to grow without burnout, that desire to have this business and be present without guilt, and to build something that truly aligns with who we are. So whether you're a 3 out of 10 right now, an 8 out of 10 like Meyla, you're still climbing from a 5, whatever it is, I want you to know that it's all part of the process. And for me, remember, I'm trusting the process. You do not need to add more to your plate. What I really want you to think about is how you can get clear on what actually matters and build a business around that supports your version of success, your version of the vision that you have for your life. So thank you for joining me today. And if this conversation sparked something for you, I would really love to hear it. I mean, I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart. If you can pause, whether you leave a review, you follow the show, but come on over to Instagram at The Product Boss and tell me, leave me a comment, DM me. I check them. Like, let's get in a conversation. You might be like, go back to strategy, Jacqueline. I just want to know how to build my product business. Or you might be like, that was deeply helpful. Or you might be like, I'll take a little of both, right? I love the feedback. I want the feedback, and I'm so appreciative of it. So until the next one, keep going, Product Boss.